Welcome everyone. It's good to see everybody here. Glad to have Sokolade here. Sokolade is an astonishing member of the community for Entropia Universe. He's been with us for a very long time. One of the oldest people that I've ever come across to play the game. Also a very skilled person. Welcome Sokolade. Happy to have you. And how's it going?
Thanks for having me. Going good. Looking forward to some chill, entropy and chill
Yeah.
with you for the next little bit.
Sounds good. Sounds good. So I got to get it started with like what got you into Entropia. How did you discover the game, and what kind of keeps you going with your Entropia career? As you played.
Um, wow, that's a lot.
Yeah.
I'll start by what did get me into it. So,
Sure.
a long time ago, there was, I think it was like a online article in like a local um, I want to say local like community for like gamers and on like a online website whatever
Okay.
that had one of Latvian guys interviewed there who already played the game. His name was in-game name was Susurs. He is rest in peace. He doesn't unfortunately he passed away probably 7 years ago now. But yeah, so we read that. Me and my brother, we read that, and we were like, "Huh, this is kind of cool," you know.
Right.
So we were like, "Okay, let's check it out." So we checked it out, and we liked it, and we at the same time we were like checking out, "Well, is there anything else that's similar to this?" And this was right when Eve was launching. So that's how long I play Entropy. If you look how old is Eve, Eve Online. So it's what 20 years now. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
close to at least. And yeah, so Eve Online, Second Life, and Afterworld, and Entropia. Those were the four games that we kind of were looking at, and I stuck with Entropia.
Okay.
Yeah. So what else did you ask? You asked
Like,
where I'm going with the
yeah. Like,
game.
what keeps you going? Like, how do you find yourself like continuing to be motivated to play the game?
I don't know. I think it's if you need to be motivated to play the game. I mean, I guess that is right. I mean, you probably need to be motivated to do anything in your life. But I mean, I don't see that as a motivation, but more like a chill, kind of relax. Maybe at one point this was more like a job for me, but not anymore. Not really. Now it's just like chill and relax and disconnect from real life, kind
Yeah.
of.
So it's like an escape. Relaxing, winding down, chilling with friends, kind of thing. Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah, pretty much.
I got you. Cool. Um. Well, thanks for that insight. So when you first started the game, were you free to play at all, or did you just immediately come in and throw cash at the screen?
No, so I actually, when I first started, I started with a different avatar. Even I lost that avatar shortly after, because I think what happened is I created this with a fake name, because like in where I grew up, everyone was talking about all the nasty stuff that's happening on the internet. That you're getting your identity gets stolen, or uh, they can spy on you or hack you or things like that. It was, mind you, I was like 14, 15 years old at that
Right.
point.
Right.
So
Yeah.
you believe everything that everyone says.
Yeah.
So yeah. Um, so I started with that, and then I realized how if I ever want to take any money out of it, and I didn't believe it that you can, but I thought even if I can take it out, they're not gonna send it to some weird name registered to whatever. You need a bank account.
Yeah.
So that's how Soko became to be, and yeah, I mean, from there on, it's been quite a journey.
Nice. Okay. All right. Well, there you have it. So, that's. I mean, it's so much to even start with. I would say maybe the one thing that I get a lot, as far as questions go, is like, how does Loot 1.0 compare to Loot 2.0? Because I know that you were successful prior to the change.
Yeah.
So do you prefer one to the other? And how has that been for you, making that transition into 2.0?
1.0 was broken. Everyone knows that.
Yeah.
It. Do I prefer? My wallet prefers 1.0. The difference that I see is that I didn't have to depot back then. Now every now and then I have to throw in a $100 or so, to open some boxes or whatever,
Right.
just to boost my pet card just a teeny bit, but also to have that gamble with boxes and hoping for a good ring. But yeah, definitely. Um, I think for the game it's better. 2.0 is better. Everything that's happening here is now better for the game. But for myself personally and very selfishly, yeah, absolutely 1.0, and no question.
Right. Okay. I mean, that's fair.
Yeah,
So,
but if I would have to choose right now, I would say this is better than it was back then.
like overall for the whole community, 2.0 is superior.
Absolutely, yeah, because there's like back then, I mean, people were hemorrhaging money and without any good chance of getting anywhere. Now, I mean, people still hemorrhage money, but not as quick. At least it feels like that. I don't know.
Yeah. No, I
I don't
agree.
know.
Definitely. Because I mean, I was like lower level, right, back in
Hmm.
1.0, and I remember, being in like team hunts or other things where you would have those no looters, or you would go hours without a global or a Hoff, Um, and it was hard, at the lower levels to know what gun to use or anything. And now we have so much more available in the user interface when it comes to inspecting a weapon or anything like that. So I think it's definitely come a long ways, from those days.
I think you touched a good point, which is that these days community is much better educated on how the game works on the mechanics. Because back then, obviously, everyone knew, IMK2, it's the thing, you want IMK2. But if you would ask a noob or any, like, let's say level 50 player, if you would ask them, why do you think IMK2 is the best gun? And they would say, well, everyone uses it. They wouldn't know exactly what's going on with it. They wouldn't understand the mechanic. They would say, oh yeah, you can profit with it, but they don't understand why or how they
Like why
profit.
it's profitable, right?
Yeah, because
Yeah.
you can use your pet with IMK2 as easily as you can use with any other gun. Even back in the day, it's just how you utilize it and what do you do with it.
Right. Had someone in the chat named Josephs saying hello from Ruse and Stells to Soko. So
Oh, nice.
yeah,
Ciao.
yeah. Anybody who has questions, feel free to post them in the chat as we go. Otherwise, I'll just kind of keep it going myself. So yeah, thanks for the insight. I definitely have to agree with you on the 1.0 versus 2.0, and definitely there's more information available. The community seems to be a lot more educated, at least when it comes to like the specifics of the mechanics, and also like how to grow their avatar efficiently with the HP per level ratio and everything like that. So, on that point though, I wanted to ask, how do you feel about the twin difference now with the token implementation? And do you feel that the Swine Twin Edition really needed to be nerfed after all?
I think they overdid it a little bit. I mean, it was a good gun. It was a great gun. I would pretty much beating any other gun in the game. DPS awesome. Efficiency not the greatest, but pretty good. I mean, 83 efficiency, and DPP not the greatest, but pretty good. I think they overdid it. Maybe it needed to be nerfed a little bit, but it's kind of like, why do it right after you introduce it? What happened?
Yeah.
Did you see what community was talking about it? Did you get some like people sending asking about what the hell? Now all the other guns are being devalued or something. I don't know. It's just a speculation.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think they overdid it. 57 efficiency. I
Yeah,
mean,
that's
it's a
really low.
swine
Really
deluxe. I
low.
get that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Would have kept it 63, I would have been like, okay, okay, all right, yeah, we got it lowered, but 63 I can work with. 57, it's kind of like, I don't know, um, because if you look at the M91 Stalker, like, I mean, sucks for whoever owns it, but now, apart from range, that gun is kind of like, it's not, it's the the Swine is competing with that. Swine is not exactly competing with anything else in the game. Swine is only competing with M91 Stalker and actually beating it by far, but it's not competing with Monano. It's not competing with PC 120, not
Right.
in my opinion at least.
Yeah.
So other than that, yeah, I mean, about tokens, it was interesting to see much higher drop rate in the beginning. I think I don't know if they nerfed it or they tweaked it a little bit, but if they did, I understand it. I mean, they run a business. They see the trends. If they would see the trends, okay, now they looted so much. Uh, with I mean, they must be running some kind of simulations or whatever. Like
Right.
if the players are gonna loot all the tokens needed for all the weapons and all the stuff before what they think is going to be the end of the event, it's kind of, they're going to have to add something else in. So I understand that. I get that. But changing the gun itself after the fact, kind of a douchey move, man.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I mean, I've seen it, well, we've seen it once before where it was an obvious, well, I would say a more obvious miscalculation with the M91 Augmented that dropped from that spider a couple years ago, right?
Yeah.
And when it first dropped, it was like 0% efficiency, and it was like an abhorrent price to shoot per shot, right? And then they quickly said publicly, like, we're fixing it. I guess maybe they didn't intend for it to drop when it did. I don't know, but for them to actually stock it and say this is the price, this is the gun, people were making moves based off of that. They were paying a price for those tokens based off of that being stocked with that price. It wasn't
Absolutely.
like the what is it, the faux ripper or something that's like they missed a zero for the token cost or something.
Yeah, that's easy to do. I mean, it's an actual honest mistake. You look at it and you're like, ah, yeah, that's a mistake. No one, no, I don't know anyone who would have thought, okay, yeah, that's an actual price. Everyone was like, yeah, that's most likely a mistake.
Right.
But what I could have done, and I think this is how they should have been doing it, instead of releasing all the items for us to see and stock them, what I think a better way would have been to just, like release a few today, a few more a day after, and, like, hey, build a hype, and all that. So,
Right.
like, they tried to build a hype with the Spina mobs.
Yeah, it didn't really work.
Did not work at all. I mean, that was I yeah.
I mean, the amount of times
was,
that I heard like
yeah.
reskinned Marsamex, it was like,
And it isn't. Look at it.
it really,
It's not.
it really isn't. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
you have the drones and the workers; they look phenomenal.
Yeah, they did a good job.
Like I logged out at the Northern Outpost at Ashy right before the update, and when I logged in, we had all this new content. We had like, similar things to what we've seen with RDI, with like, dead NPCs and stuff. Like I was like, this is sick. Like it looks amazing. Like I was actually pumped and hyped for Unreal, and all these changes, and it revitalized that in me, and I hope it did in other players as well.
Yeah. No, I hope so. I mean, this is great. The only other thing is RDI was amazing update. Martsamek's Cave was the Cyclops depth was amazing update, and I think at some point me and you we even touched base that like Martsamek's Cave is phenomenal in many ways because there's so much more. Like if you think back then, so much new stuff going on there. Like it's the mechanics and everything is so different than it is above the ground. and it was cool. You know,
Yeah.
like you have to cross the bridge, you have to
Yeah.
avoid this spitting balls, and have to
Right,
do
Cyclops
the
steps, right? Because I mean,
yeah
I know you said Marsomex cave, but I know a lot of people won't differentiate that and the Neomex
right
cave near Boreas. Just wanted to preface that a little bit.
yeah, and then yeah, and I'm glad you said Neomix cave because you know like Cyclops in my opinion is awesome, but
Yeah.
then Neomix cave they just dropped the cave in there, which is great that you can build your own um, maturity levels, which is awesome. But at the same time, they just dropped it in there. You know, they didn't even have to do a whole lot. It's not above
Right.
the ground. They didn't have to redesign anything. It's kind of like at some point there was a lot of good development, and it's kind of a miss now. I hope it's only because they're focusing much more on the new engine, basically.
Right. Definitely. So, if you had to invent a new weapon class for the game, or a new weapon for the game, can you run me through what that would look like? And I'm sorry to put you on the spot for such a tall order, but is there anything like in
Oh,
mind that you have?
oh yeah, absolutely, dude. We need double wielding weapons. It don't
Akimbo,
matter.
yes, sir.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it either two pistols or two knives.
Yeah.
Give me yeah, two double-handed.
Yeah.
Absolutely need that.
Like short blades or pistols, dual
Yeah,
wield, definitely.
yep,
Sword and board,
absolutely.
maybe? Shield, you know? Who knows?
Could do a sword and board. Yeah, we
Yeah?
could do that. I mean, that would be pretty cool. But double action, heck yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree, definitely. Um, and I'm glad that you mentioned that because, like, sometimes I've wanted to, like, dual wield swords as well, which I know is a tall order because obviously it's meant to be a two-handed weapon similar to, like, a two-handed club, but you got all these other, like, one-handed weapons that you can't dual wield. It doesn't make any sense to me. Like, what's your other hand doing, you know? So,
Exactly. No, I mean, if
yeah.
it's like if we look historically, you know, like Middle East, you know, they had these swords. And in a game, if you would look, Cyrene has a sword that is fairly large, but it's a single-handed sword, and you could double wield that. But if we're talking about like a long sword, no, you
Yeah.
cannot double wield a long sword.
I could finally put my Buchan's blade in my left hand for a
Yeah,
finisher, you know? Like,
yeah, and that would be cool too. I mean,
yeah.
absolutely. But you can only, I mean, it would have to be reasonable. You know, you
Yeah.
cannot be like, oh yeah, now I'm shooting with two BP-130s. You know, that's just insane.
Yeah, dual wielding mod nano blades, nah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. But at the same time, you know, like if you can do a double wield and you know your other gun is a finisher or maybe let's say a cryogenic chip that slows the opponent. You know,
Yeah. No, they actually have a cryogenic chip that does slow the
yeah,
opponent
but you
down.
can.
It's
But
a
imagine you can equip it at the
true,
same time as
true.
your main weapon.
Is that I think that's the adjusted number 4 cryogenic
Yeah,
chip, and similar to the strike chips, I don't think that they drop anymore, so it's a bit of a shame.
yeah,
But
and that's another thing what you can do. I mean, that's brings it more unrealistic, but hey, it's already unrealistic is enough. But
I mean, we're
you
playing
know,
a
like
sci-fi game, you know, so
exactly, yeah. Like if you have you ever played oh shoot, I'm losing words.
it's okay.
Um, damn it, the popular series now on Netflix or wherever it was
I
on
don't have a
HBO.
subscription to Netflix or
And
HBO, so I can't help you there. I'm sorry.
oh, there was a game, Polish game. Dang it, the
The
guy
Witcher?
is The Witcher. The Witcher.
Okay,
That's
all
right.
right. I guess that
Yeah, you played The Witcher, right?
I have, and
Yeah.
I've actually
So
seen a couple of seasons of The Witcher because I played the game, right? So
exactly.
yeah,
Yeah. So imagine you can have that potion, and it doesn't have to be you know like equipped, but you can drink a potion while you're shooting, you
yeah,
know, or apply kind of effect, you know, like let's say you were backpedaling from a slow mob, even, you know, like using the mechanics that are in the game, and why not being able to slow it down just a little bit, or you know, use the push that he has, like stun them a little bit, you know. I mean,
yeah,
that would be cool. I think that would be really cool.
yeah. I mean, like we've seen them experiment with that sort of Mind Force, you know, stuff before. Like we've got the deceleration, acceleration, and like health augmentation chips in the game that
Hmm.
are pretty rare, but they exist, right? So it'd be cool to see more of that. I agree. You know, maybe in the form of another Mind Force variant, or like you said, like a potion, or even where players could craft pills and become like a pharmacist. Like that could be like a whole new thing as well. So definitely a lot of
Yeah,
stuff to expand upon there.
that would be a great new profession. You know, pill crafting was actually what they intended to do in the beginning.
Really.
They were coming up with the buffs and everything. So the original idea for them to do it was with the crafters are going to be involved in it and miners. So everyone will be involved in it, and hunters then will be able to utilize the buffs that crafters and miners provide. That started with the pills. They were called nanobots.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I remember
So
hearing about that.
yeah, I still have some in my in my storage.
Really?
But yeah, I do. They were 1 hour. 1 hour, one nanobot would do 1 hour, and there were different types. Like for example, 1% accuracy. That kind of deal.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Yeah, no, that's really interesting. I wonder what made him move away from it, but who knows?
Money?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't want to say it, but I'm glad you did. So,
No, I mean
yeah,
obviously they were. It was the hype, and they were very late on a hype train for the opening the boxes. Like what is in-game loot boxes or whatever,
yeah,
cash crates.
yeah,
So I mean that was they needed it, but
yeah,
they were
they did.
very
Yeah,
late.
yeah,
I mean that kind of pulled the game out of a slumber. Now people were able to put the money in and actually gamble a little bit with it, while not really losing anything.
yeah,
So it was great move for the game, absolutely. But and then I introduced the pills, which pills kind of moved away from the nanobots.
yeah. So, to that point, with Mindark, making changes and stuff, what, in your opinion, in your lifetime in the game, would you chalk up as the biggest win that Mindark ever did? Like the best change that Mindark ever did for the game, outside of like Loot 2.0, because we've already covered how good that was for the community, right? But can you reflect on any changes that you saw, any fixes, improvements, you know?
I would have to think a bit on that. I don't know if this would be the best, but I think limited. When I introduced limited was a pretty good move overall.
Okay.
Um, I think that was great. Recently, I can say that introducing weapons that are actually, above level 100 is great. I was begging for that for many years
Mm-hmm.
prior. There was nothing. I mean, nothing. No one could use anything that above level 50 that would have skill increase bonus.
Right.
If we look back at some time, the top gun in the game was EMIC X5. You know, that was skill increase bonus. I'm not talking about Terminator, for example, but yeah, top weapon in the game, and it's really hard for those people that are like they're level 150 or close to 200. Even back then there were some people that were close to that, and they still do the same as a guy who started the game just like a year ago. They're in the
Right.
same boat, which is a good and a bad thing, because like good thing, like everyone can get to the Uber level fairly quickly, or be with Uber on the same level ish. The only thing that would stand those guys apart would be their HP level, pretty much. Everything else would not really matter. But for the Uber, it gets real boring. Like if you look at it, how many of those old school true Ubers still play the game?
Yeah.
There is not a whole lot.
Right.
I don't even know, like right now, who would be a true Uber who still plays the game. The last one, in my opinion, pretty much was uh, Manic Oil Digger, maybe? No, not Manic Oil. Sorry, M something. I would have to look for my friends list. Gosh. one of the original warrants, but I don't think I can remember now.
Oh, no worries. But no, I mean, there's been a lot of new blood in the game, right? Especially, I guess, from
Yeah.
I guess especially from your angle, right? You know, and we've seen other folks jump up in skill with, you know, codex changes and things like that, where, you know, skill is just so abundant now, and there's so many options for skilling mobs, you know. So,
Hmm.
um, I don't know. What's your opinion on some people just focusing down, you know, the skill and focusing on the avatar size? Do you think that's like a worthwhile pursuit, or do you think that there are better ways to approach the game?
To each its own.
Yeah,
Quickly going back to the previous question,
sure. Go ahead.
Tina got it right. Gravedigger.
Gravedigger, yeah.
Yeah, Gravedigger was probably the last true Uber that played the game. Either him or maybe even Jenna, Star Mercury, maybe.
Yeah.
But he's always been kind of wishy-washy. But so, but yeah, about the avatar, I don't know. I think having there's some skills that are very important in my opinion. And sorry if you hear the squeaky toy, my
Yeah,
dog.
no, it's fine.
So it would be it would be obviously HP matters. HP matters no matter what do you do in a game, really, because if you wanna hunt something, you know, HP is the best armor you can have. And other than that, evade and dodge, super important skills. Alter skill, super important.
Right.
Everything else, not really. You know, only for your own good, which would be probably HP. But yeah, if we look at um, the importance of evade and dodge is something I don't think that people understand. Like, um, let's say an aspiring hunter, whatever, wants to be hunting, you know, Eamon stalkers. How do you get there? It's not by getting the biggest gun in the game. It's not by getting the most protective armor possible. It's by getting your evade there. And if you can get your evade above the level of the E1 stalker, that's how you can kill it easily. Obviously, you still need items to do it. You know, good gun, good armor, and all that. Rings. Evade is the most important in that sense. And in PvP, dodge, super
Yeah.
important. You know, like um, if I would, my dodge is not high, but if I would go against the player who's using, you know, let's say Blizzard or something like that, like a level 50 weapon, or 0x0, like I think you own one,
Yeah.
I will dodge that. You
Yeah.
know, not all the time, but I will dodge it. You know, so a dodge is important. And obviously HP and now Uther. But what is the right way of playing the game? It's to each its own, really, because you can you can play it from different perspectives. You can do the trading, you can, you know, obviously do the profession, whichever you want, but you can also be like a weekend player. You know, you can play with limited items, or you can keep an expensive item that you just want to play with. You know, but you should no one should ever look at the game and think that, oh, this is going to be my job, this is going to be my, you know, thing that I'm going to do forever, and I'm gonna, you know, play 60 hours a week.
Right.
That's insane.
That's
But
unrealistic,
if you
right?
want, if you want to do it, more power to you.
Yeah.
You can. You
Yeah.
know, this is the real alternate universe that you can kind of explore and do whatever you want. You
Definitely.
know, if you want, like, I personally would love to have more skills and all that, but I am fairly skilled and I can do pretty much whatever I want in a game. You know, as much as my wallet allows me to. So, am I at the point where I'm happy? Sure, but could I be better? Yes.
Yeah. I think everyone can, right? But I mean,
Yeah.
being content where you're at, that's something that not a lot of people can say. So, I'm glad to hear that you're good where you're at. I mean, obviously we all have like our, goals and everything, but that's cool to hear. But yeah, no, I really appreciate like the insight, and I think a lot of people get caught up in those numbers where they just want to stack on as much HP, but they lose sight of like what you said, which was the defensive or evasive skills, because I've seen a lot of people, that kind of just put those to the side. And I mean, if you're doing, looter gain, I can kind of see it, where it's like, you want better returns, more stable returns. I understand putting aside HP and evade for that, but I mean, at the same time, some of those bigger mobs with that markup that's there in the loot composition requires that evade as well. So it's a tough balance to find,
Oh yeah, absolutely. But it's also like it's your playstyle. If you want to, just be able to kill the biggest mob, and you don't really care, about how easy or how much of them you can do, then
yeah,
whatever. Just get the biggest armor, get the biggest gun that your skill allows, or chip in or skill up to it, whatever. It's fine. But I think a true achievement is when you can go to Eamon Stalker and do it in like Ghost or even naked. If
yeah,
you wanted to just to
or
show off.
Ascension, yeah, exactly,
Yeah, but if you're just hunting it, Eamon Stalker, and you just wanna like grind it out, you will be smart about it. It's not like you're gonna stand there naked, because that's not smart. That's gonna cause you too much healing.
yeah.
So you need some kind of armor.
You need
But
something, yeah,
do you need a mode shadow for it? Probably not. You can probably go get away with something simpler, something that it depends on your skill. Because if you have 150 evader, I don't recall Eamon Stalker level, but you will be dodging shots. It's a night and day difference. Like I encourage everyone, especially from the stream, from the chat, if you think that I'm talking crap, is that, like, remember this: go to Snable Snot, Combibo, whatever spawn, small ones. Run in it, and look how many shots they evade. And mind this: when you were a noob, when a brand new avatar first day, he's gonna get hit every time. And now you see, now you're an Uber against the guy who's just gotten into the game. Now 15, 20 times that, and imagine, someone can walk into the Eamon Stalker spawn and do the same thing you just did in a Combibo spawn. It's incredible, and trust me, it is like that. If you want to pay a noob to go and see how quickly his health goes down, the guy who's been in the game for a couple of days, do it. I mean, it's incredible. Skills do matter.
yeah. I remember when I was a noob and we would go on like team hunts and kite Dasplators up on Bulma, in the dome before they got brought down here to Planet, and they never missed me, when I was a new player. And then as soon as my dodge got around that level or a little bit above, like I started actually dodging Dasplators, I thought that was impossible. I thought they never missed. So to be able to see that shift is really nice, and it gives you a good sense of accomplishment as well. So
yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about. I mean, it's insane. The difference is insane.
yeah.
But at the same time, you mentioned Despleter, right? I think Despleter starts at like level 61 or something like that.
Yeah, they're pretty high. Yeah.
So you need like a 70 dodger to actually start dodging the youngs.
Yeah, and I'm not that far above them actually. So everyone thinking that I'm like 120 dodger, that's not the case. So
yeah. So, but it is incredible, the difference. Now, when the Despleters were introduced, which is when Quab Never Die got introduced, which is, I don't want to say the wrong date, but I think 2000, maybe 8. Around 2008. So the game is about 5 years old now, right? So people been playing for 5 years or so.
yeah.
How many people do you think had dodge above 70?
Like 2 maybe.
Not a whole lot. There were a few, but not a whole lot. How many do you think were saying this mob is insane? This is the craziest mob ever. It
Yeah,
hits you every time.
a lot of them. Yeah.
Yeah, it's an impact, but has a dodge. Like it's like what the hell is going on? And that was crazy times. But now, I mean, now anyone can go and hunt death splitters. You know,
Yeah.
almost anyone can
Well, I
go
mean,
hunt.
again, it goes back to the changes that were brought on by, the codex, mission and everything like that. So,
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, skilling is the easiest as it's ever been.
right. So I got a couple of quick questions for you to ask.
Yeah,
Hopefully they'll be rapid fire because I've gonna take a bio break after these, if you don't mind.
sure.
But one that I had come in is what's the worst pet peeve that you have against kitty fire?
Oh my God. Gotta be careful what I say.
Is she within striking distance? I don't know.
She is within
Okay,
striking
I
distance.
see her in chat. Yeah, she's definitely here. She's listening. She's
Yeah, no, she is probably 3 feet from me, 4 feet from me.
I've got my wife right over here as well, so she could hit me too. So I got to watch it as well. So I know what you mean.
Yeah, we have a similar setup. I mean, I see you from above, so
Yeah.
imagine my wife would be right to
Yeah,
the west.
she's like right over here. You can't see her, but she's like right over there. Yeah.
Yeah. Pet peeve, I don't know. Like if we're talking about the game or real life.
Well, that's up to you, man. I'm not gonna put words in your mouth here, but like, does she like
Okay.
tap her foot, tap her nails, chew with her mouth open? I don't know, not shave her legs. It's like, it's, she's saying careful.
Yeah, and I died here. Okay. I don't
I
know.
died as well, so it's
There's
okay.
really not a whole lot. I have to think hard on it. I mean, I love her to bits, and there's nothing really that I hate. And if I have something, and she already knows that, and either like doesn't let me see it or doesn't. Yeah. It's one or the other. Sorry about the dog.
No, you're
Um,
fine.
but in game, I think sometimes Kitty is a little too naive on some of the things, like about how things actually are in the game.
Okay.
So like
I won't expand on that. We'll just leave it
yeah.
as is. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, no, that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah, but no, I mean, I'm super happy. I'm super. I wouldn't say privileged. Maybe I met my love of my life through the game, and
Yeah,
we've been happily together now for over 5 years.
that's awesome, man. That really is.
Yeah.
So on another note, towards the IRL conversation, what do you plan to be for Halloween? Or do you plan on dressing up for Halloween?
we don't do it really. It's like it's not in my. Well, it kind of actually is in my culture too, because I'm obviously you hear my accent, but like I can tell the people here I don't care, but I am originally Latvian and I do live in United States. It's kind of like I'm an outsider in a local culture. But other than that, no, we don't really dress up. So you're not gonna see me dressed up, unfortunately.
Gotcha. Okay. So you've never dressed up for Halloween, or just not this year?
No, I have never.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, it's. I know sometimes for some people that might sound crazy, but never have.
That's a different.
I'm open to it if there's ever some kind of I don't know party that we're invited to, me and Kitty, that we could do it. I mean, in that case, I would probably look into something from either Stephen King or maybe I don't know Marvel, something like that.
But no, like local trick or treaters in your area or anything like that you have to worry about impressing or scaring. Okay.
No, we live in a very rural area. It's yeah, I don't think there will be anyone at our door. It's a bit of a hike to get up to our house.
Gotcha. Well, cool. I mean, that's interesting to hear. I know everyone's got their preference, especially when it comes to Halloween. But yeah, I appreciate your openness about it. But yeah, if you're cool with it, let's take 5 or so,
Yeah,
and have a bit of a stretch of the legs, and we'll get back at it in a few. Okay.
awesome.
Cool. Thanks, man. I'll be right back.
Thank you.
I'm getting PMs telling me to dress him up. No, what do you mean? What does that mean?
Hey, I'm back.
Oh, welcome back.
Yeah, people are PMing her saying that she needs to dress me up for Halloween now.
Yeah. We should sort of poll. What should Sokolade be dressed up as for Halloween? So.
Tina said Proteron, but the thing is that I have to be extremely careful. If I touch water, I might drown.
Yeah. You get your ankle deep in water, you're gonna
Yep,
drown, right? So.
yep. I'm glad you got the reference.
Yeah, no, that's definitely not lost on me, man. But welcome back. Hope you had a good break. And all right, cool. We'll go ahead and write this time step down real quick. I think it's like the 1 hour 23 mark roughly. That should give. Okay, he's already written it down. Cool. Thank you, Seb. All right. Well, I've already got through a lot of these questions, but I wanted to ask: are you overall in loss or in profit from your Entropia career so far?
In profit, 100%.
Nice.
Yeah. Well, basically how it was, and I don't care to share, is way back when, when I met Kitty, that was also the time when the 1.0 and 2.0 changed. You know, like the change were coming in. But I already was kind of planning on doing something else with the game a little bit. Kind of got bored.
Like
And
changing up your strategy or like your play style?
yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
And at that point, I pretty much sold out, and I used the money that I took out, and which was quite a bit, to actually be able to move to States and be comfortable. Buy a car, do a couple of things at the house, and things like that.
Right. I mean, priorities kind of shift, and I've also kind of pulled back in the last year myself, because we were talking about a house, and stuff like that. So you have to make preparations, even though we haven't pulled the trigger on something like that yet. Just being mindful of it and allocating funds elsewhere. So I get it. What's some advice
yeah.
you can give to somebody to become self-sustainable in the game?
Don't do stupid shit.
That's pretty fair. That's pretty fair.
I mean, here's the thing. I never say against a gamble. If you feel like you wanna gamble here and there a little bit, go for it. But mind the fact that you may not have that pet. Let's say you have 10,000 pet on your card. Hell, let's say you have 2,000 pet on your card. Should you be going hunting dasps? No, you shouldn't. Should you be, giving it a try? Go for it. Let's say if you want to go, and you don't care, and like, okay, I'm not gonna play for a little bit, or I will be able to depot again, shortly. And you want to have that thrill. Fuck it, go for it. Go hunt something big, get a fapper or whatever, and try it out. But mind the fact that you won't have that pet afterwards. Very likely you may get lucky.
Yeah.
And that's how I've always done. I always go gamble a little bit, but I'm like very like, okay, I'm gonna go pull the swats on the more expensive machine for 3 minutes, and that's it. I'm out, right? And like a good example of that is back in 2007, I think, probably 2007, 2008. Hell, that means the C&D is even older than I thought it was. But yeah, around that time, maybe it was 2009. I was done. I was like, to hell with the game. You're losing. It's not worth it. Whatever. So I thought, fuck it. Let's buy one amplifier and go to C&D and go hunt dust bleeders. So I bought the craziest armor I could find on the auction, which was at that time probably Tiger and things like that, because everything else was expensive. Like Sentinel was like 300%, man.
Yeah.
It's not the days that we have now. And so I bought whatever I could put together, and I got up there, hunted the dasps, and I ulted the 700 per DSI.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and I was like, this is the last one, like, because I was happy with the amount of money I'm gonna be taking out, and I thought, fuck it, like I can gamble a little bit with it. So I went there, hired a healer, did that. Healer needed to go for a break, and I knew that's gonna happen. That's why I brought the amplifier. And the best amplifier at that time, what I had was 7 or M7, I think.
Okay.
So what would that translate to these days? So that's not 13. That's like 9 maybe
Yeah,
to
9
the
or 10,
amplifiers,
maybe.
something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that was the one that I maxed because I didn't have the skills in mining. That was the only one that I could use. It was the
Oh, wow.
highest one I could use.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I during the break I just hit a couple domes and got the 14k Caldroid.
Oh, Jesus, man.
Yeah. So I think ESI was probably 600 or 7%, 600 or 700% at the time, and was followed with the thing. It was probably 20k ped that I
Wow.
got.
Wow.
Yeah.
What a
And
run, man.
stayed in a game. Stayed in a game after that. I was like, fuck it,
Yeah.
like.
Huh.
And that kind of opened the eyes because before that I would really never, like, I was super fucking tight, and I would never do stupid shit
Yeah.
that I told everyone not to do stupid shit, but
Right.
I was like really tight. But every now and then you gotta figure out, you gotta gamble. But hey, remember, if you're doing that every week or every day, that's not an every time, like, just to give it a go, a little try, a little gamble. That's already too much. That's like a once a month type of deal, if
Yeah.
not even.
Yeah. No, I agree, because like if I set aside a certain amount of money to gamble with, or to be like, oh, that's my fun fund, so to speak.
Yeah.
I'll go do like that many clicks on explosives or recycle or whatever, and then after those are gone, I'm done. I'll pull the plug. I don't keep going. I don't mortgage the house. I don't TT my Reaper blade for more nano cubes, right? So I think there's a bit of a cutoff and distinction to make, when it comes to those sort of habits. But everyone's got to have their fun, to a degree. So.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I'm glad to hear that you're total in the good for your experience here. I know a lot of people haven't been, and thanks for sharing the advice. And I mean, it seems like pretty brain dead easy advice to not do dumb shit, but to actually stay away from it and to keep yourself on like a regimen, that's something else entirely. So it's a good wake up call for a lot of people, I think. So
Yeah. Well, here's the thing, and it's been preached a lot of times in forums and stuff, that you should, like, or someone, Sweet Pea Ninja's risk management, risk
Yeah.
management is
Yeah.
everything. That is correct. Because here's the thing, like, anyone can go and grind Eamon stalkers or Despleader stalkers or any big mob, as much as they want, and they can sit on that mob 24/7. That can be their only mob they ever hunt. That's fine. But you have to learn the game, learn the mechanics, and you gotta understand at that point you will be, at some points you may, if you're doing Eamon Stalkers for example, you may go 30k deep in a loss, 50k deep in a loss, and that's the difference between a player who hunts Aatroxes and a player who hunts big stuff, because there's the opportunists, so to say, like I am. I don't have the bankroll to do Eamon Stalkers, but if I had purely 150 to 200,000 pad just for ammo, I would consider doing Despleaters or Eamons or whatever, big mobs, and just that. But I'm not at that point, and I cannot do it, so I'm just doing whatever I can, some smaller stuff, lower level mobs and things like that.
Yeah.
Even the Flesh Rippers, everyone is on Flesh Rippers, and it's a good mob for many reasons, but it can also have quite decent swings. So
Right.
even for me, even so, I'm fairly skilled, and I can take them. The skill doesn't mean anything. When your bankroll is shit, you need
Right.
to have your bankroll to that mob. Like right now, if I'm looking at my card, my bankroll is more like, we do more than Pupugi, but we do less than than a Flesh Ripper,
Yeah.
So I think bankroll and risk management truly is everything.
Right. No, I have to agree, and especially with like other people that I've talked to about the same subject, if you can't sustain yourself through the low points, you're not able to stack up your stackables to flip for like a markup, and you're just constantly TTing stuff that you're kind of in like a self-defeating circle there. Like it's not going to be good,
Yep,
right? So
absolutely. And
yeah,
also, like, what are you hunting that creature for? Is it? Are you really? Are you gonna really be hunting it just for what? For codex, or for something specific that it drops?
right,
That's also a different story. Like, for example, I just did a wave on Next Island on the dragons, to just see if I get lucky to loot a sinew. Um, but that's it. I stopped. I'm not grinding them because it's an expensive mob to grind.
right.
But I try it every now and then, and once in a while I get lucky, and that kind of pays off for those few times that I tried it and didn't get anything and came out with a loss. So it's not gonna not gonna make me super rich in a game,
Yeah,
but it will self-sustain me for sure.
yeah, for sure. Sorry, I was getting distracted with chat there for a minute.
You
Um,
could.
yeah. So I got a question that came in. How do you like the states, Soko? 'Cause I know you mentioned it earlier that you're not natively from the states. So do you like it here?
Yeah, I
Overall,
mean, overall I do. Definitely. I lived in Latvia for a long time, to my 20s probably. Then I moved to England. I lived in England for almost a decade before I moved to States, and yeah, so I can compare to quite a few places, and I've traveled a lot, and there's some places that are that are better than others, unfortunately. But everything has
yeah,
its own. So,
yeah,
as I miss a couple of things, overall, I like it. I mean, what they say about the land of the free and the land of the opportunity, for sure. Like living the American dream. I mean, it's possible if you want to, but don't think that the American dream is by taking out a massive mortgage and buying the coolest car your credit card company lets you.
yeah,
That's not the case. You gotta be smart in real life too. You cannot just waste your money and live with a poor credit score and just paycheck to paycheck. Definitely not.
yeah,
But
yeah.
for me, coming from Northeast Europe, it's also kind of taught me, that you have to work hard, and that's all I know from my whole life. So I work hard and I move up wherever I am. I kind of, like I look at the next step already. So even here right now, I can tell you, we recently moved to where we are now, and we absolutely love it here. Still within a state, but like a few hours from where we used to be,
Right.
and we're super happy, and that's because of job opportunities and showing how I can progress, or how good of a worker I am, basically.
Right. Yeah, yeah. Because I mean, work ethic. You know, that's not unique to America. That's something you gotta have, I guess. And you'll go as far as you can, no matter where you are. If
Yeah,
you're thriving
but
in your career. So
the, what I was getting at is that honestly, work ethic, especially in some parts of America, is great,
yeah,
absolutely. But in, like, let's say, bigger cities, it's not that great.
yeah.
There's especially younger folks, and
I mean,
I'm in a leadership role. I'm hiring people, and I see, you know, how they are, where they come from, what they do, and how they act, and what they do after they are hired, and how they act afterwards. It's different. But
yeah,
I can see that. But I can tell you this: in America, it's easier to compete if you have a good work ethic.
Yeah.
It is much easier to compete in a work market, in a job market, than it is in other countries that are, let's say, Eastern Europe. They are hard workers, and it's much harder to compete in those areas
I think
with
the
people
bar
like
is
this
lower.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
In America, the bar is definitely
absolutely
lowered.
is.
So yeah, I have to agree with that. So yeah, good points. Good points overall, man. Um, so have you ever been free to play on Entropia? That's okay if not.
Have I when I first started, I think actually I kind of like not for very long. So kind of
Okay.
I kind of just dropped in some money, and it wasn't a lot, but I did drop in a little bit of money, and I started with that. But it was I did start with money, I wouldn't say. So probably not really
Yeah.
free to play. I am self-sustained, if that makes sense.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm not. I don't need to dump any money in unless I have a goal in my mind that I want to get to, or I do feel like, hey, yeah, my bet card's a little low.
Yeah.
I
Let me
can afford.
top it up. Yeah.
Yeah, I can afford to drop in a little bit of money. Sure, let's do it. But
Yeah, for
yeah,
sure.
other than that, I'm playing pretty much sustainably.
That's awesome. Have you ever been scammed in Entropia?
Hmm, good freaking question, man. Um,
I mean, that
'Cause I
you
know
want to
so
admit
many
to
stories.
on stream, you know?
No, no. I mean, I'll be honest. If I have, let me think. I don't think I have been. I've been very, very lucky, but I also kind of like I feel when it's a good person or a bad person,
Yeah.
or things like that. And I mean, if I have ever been scammed, then I already with an idea in my mind that this is, I can afford to lose it or something. Like I've had. So I trust some people, and there's a lot of people that trust me, and that's because obviously, and this is no surprise to anyone, but this is, like people are. There are some people, in a game that those names, you've dealt with them, you can trust them for the most part, right? And I feel like I am one of those names because I've stayed for the most of my player's life. I stayed truthful and without drama, without controversy about me or things like that. Some people have tried on forums and things like that, and that has pissed me off um, in some ways. But luckily, that hasn't caused any issues in my game, in my career, or things like that. So luckily, I
Likewise.
haven't
Yeah.
been. Yeah, but I've heard horror stories, and I know people who have been scammed, and it sucks, man. But it's also at the same time you can know there's always a little bit of a blame you can put on to the person who has been scammed. You were not careful with your assets, or you were threading a fine line, in some way or another.
Yeah. I guess so. But I think it's just as easy to say that, like, you're just blaming the victim, and that's never a good thing. And it's like, when PCF got compromised and all those credentials got leaked out there, and then everyone without MFA, got pwned, and their accounts got compromised when they used overlapping credentials for Entropia. It's like,
Hmm.
and Mindark just like, oh, well, our license agreement says if you didn't have, the Pocket app and multi-factor authentication, that you're shut out of luck. We're sorry, we can't do anything. But it's your site, and you were supposed to be securing your site,
Yeah,
So, I
yeah,
mean, yeah, you can
I
always say
understand.
that you were supposed to have that enabled, but at the same time, you know, people are
Well,
gonna be derpy, so.
yeah, absolutely. But here's the thing: do you lock your car when you go into the shopping mall?
True. True. I mean,
Do you?
yes. I mean, I see the point, but
Yeah. I mean, at the same time, obviously,
yeah,
Entropia should have been pushing. Well, hey, you need to be sure you're safe. This is real money. This is your your identity that can actually be stolen. Because obviously they can, if they can get in a game, they can also get in find your address if you have put it on the website,
Right.
on your account. So yes, like some people didn't take it seriously in the game, unfortunately. However, I think all those people that have, like invested in the game, everyone who is putting money in, who is in a place in their life where they can actually deposit some money, they think about it a little bit. They think, okay, how can I protect it? Is it even safe? Like these days, um, I don't even open up my wallet to pull the credit card out if the website is dodgy, and
Yeah.
there
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
there's something that I want to buy from that website, but I mean, I don't trust it. I don't know the name. It's not a big brand store or whatever. I'm a little bit weary. I don't know if I want to buy it from there. So you kind of have to think about yourself too.
Yeah. No, definitely.
Long password, dude. My password is like freaking 15 characters long.
I got you beat. I totally have you beat. I'm at 21 characters, and it's alphanumeric. It's in another language.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's not even something that you could guess. I mean, like, we could sit here all night. But yeah, no, I mean, like, people often, and I'm so sorry to be breaking away from Entropia, but this is like where I nerd out. So,
Hmm.
people often mistake alphanumerics or special characters with password complexity, and it's actually the length of the password, or how long it would take to brute force the password based off of its length. So, if you were literally to spell out verbatim, long password is best password, that's better than the most complex 8-character password with like all the capitalization and special characters you could ever think of,
Yeah.
just because it's longer.
Hmm.
So, just a little
Yeah.
freebie for you guys. So, all right.
Absolutely. I know. I think maybe in most websites ask you for like a 8-digit password, and that includes like I don't know what entropy is. Uh, what entropy is asking for, but double that. Just type it in twice if you need to. Whatever. It's gonna make it harder for
Yeah,
anyone to hack it.
definitely.
Yeah, and I've known this for a while, and that's why my entropy password is so long. Even so, I have MFA, but still, it doesn't hurt. It only helps.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely, man. Um, cool. Yeah, no, I mean, like, of course, no website is secure, and everyone should be careful and change their passwords, and be careful who you trust, no matter in the game or like in real life, and it's definitely a good time to call that out, where it's like, sure, it's cool to sit here and say that you've never been scammed. I'm glad that it's not happened to you, but at the same time, for those who have been or been a victim of that happening, I feel bad for it to have happened to anybody, and just everyone else. Hopefully, it's not happened, but make sure you're taking the proper precautions for it not to.
Absolutely.
For
Even
sure.
if you have your
Yeah.
best friend or in a game or someone from another country that you trust with your items or even your account or whatever, remember that things happen.
Yeah.
Something may happen to you, something may happen to them, and I wish that no one has to deal with that. But hey, anything can happen. Life sometimes takes a twisted turn. So one day you have a friend and a bunch of items in your game, and the other day you don't, and especially hard for those that have made it as an investment. That are planning to sell the item to later take on to reinvest it in somewhere else in their lives or whatever. So
Right.
yeah. Yeah, Teen actually did remind me of, but I'm not gonna touch on that. I have been actually somewhat scammed, um, one time before.
Oh,
Um,
well, I mean, you don't have
not,
to say. We can.
yeah, no, he did. Teen just PM'd me. He was listening to the stream. But I did get scammed, um, a while back. But I've made my amends with the person and actually gotten the money back, and it
Yeah.
wasn't a lot. It was pennies, honestly.
I mean, a similar thing happened with me where I had an item taken. I think it was worth like 2,500 ped, which is something I would consider very minor nowadays. I mean, to a lot of people, you know, 250 bucks is a lot of money, but in the grand scheme of things in my trophy career, that's really not that much. But he came back, you know, this was years later, you know, and paid me back. So, have I been scammed on books, like on paper? Yeah. Like I've been taken advantage of where someone fucked off with an item, but they came back and regretted it and paid me back, you know. And he's one of my best friends to this date, you know. And we've grown even stronger with each other, you know, through that. So I mean, you know, it's very dynamic, not only with Loot 2.0 being dynamic, but you know, also with the players that you meet in the game and in relationships and how people evolve, you know. And I met the guy when he was like 13, you know, and that's how long I've known him, and now he's like coming on 20 years old, you know. So it's like he's totally different, you know. I'm totally different than I used to be, you know, when I started playing. So
Yeah, absolutely.
oh. So
But
yeah, go ahead.
no, go on.
Oh yeah, I just wanted to ask you another question because you know that's what we're doing here.
Go for it.
If you
Oh
could
man,
have,
sorry to
No,
interrupt,
yeah,
but
go.
dude, I can talk, especially if you bringing up the old days, because I'm kind of like, you know, I feel like I'm almost sort of kind of like a grandpa in the game. You know, I've been here around forever, and most of the people that, you know, even if they don't know me, they see the name, it pops into bubbles or whatever, so they kind of know it's recognizable, you know. So I can talk a lot of stuff, but yeah, so just ask me whatever.
Yeah, no, you're good. Yeah, cool. So, what is your most favorite planet, and what is your least favorite planet in the game? And I will say this: be careful, because planet partners have been known to come into my stream from time to time, and they
Oh.
may be listening. So, say this at your own risk, you know. So,
It's easy for the best, or my favorite rather. My favorite's Cyrene, hands down.
Cyrene.
Um,
Okay.
yeah, absolutely. It's been for a long time, and it's the devs there. They know me. I've chatted with them, you know, for even before Shauna, before anything was even happening on the planet, you know. And I've given them some pointers. They've actually asked me, "What do you think of this?"
Yeah.
You know, which is awesome. And I wish that would happen more. You know, like there could be potentially, you know, like some guys, we don't need the information. Don't tell us what's coming. But if you're wondering about something, you
Yeah.
know,
If you want my
rewarded or
opinion, yeah.
something, yeah, go for it. Ask a player. You
Yeah.
know, ask maybe a bunch of players. Set some, like, I don't know, 20 players that you think that are reasonable, you know, and not just, you know, for their own good, saying that, oh yes, this is a good idea or a bad idea. But you know, um, if they would ask that, and still take it with a grain of salt, but you know, I think that would be good for the game. But Cyrene, yes. Now these days, there's so much going on, man. There's Next Island. Next Island came in, freaking, you know, smashed the door in. You know, when they announced that the ownership has been changed, not the last time. Now it's under Minddark, but the previous time.
Right.
That they did a bunch of good stuff. I mean, a lot of good stuff. Same time, Monria 2 Virtual Sense, they're doing some good work there too.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Rocktropia is, you know, it, and I know Never Die. So you know, like, by the way, he had a birthday, not yesterday, but a couple days ago, I think. So, and he's been doing well in his real life and everything. So obviously the Entropy is on a back burner because he's been pushing for his personal career, which is great. More power to him. But um, unfortunately, the game is on a back burner, so we are not seeing any development. But at the time when he was actively developing it, dude, the stuff that he introduced in the game, it's insane.
Yeah. A
Some
lot
of
of
the
people
stuff,
hate on Rocktropia. You know,
and I don't know why.
I
I
don't know
mean,
why
yeah,
either. I fucking love
it's
that planet. And
I wouldn't go that far,
oh,
but yeah,
okay, all right. Well, it has a
it's
special place in my heart. I'll say that.
exactly. Yep,
And
yep, absolutely.
a lot of the missions that exist there still, if you were to implement codex and wipe them out, it would impede progress with what's already been established there. So it kind of makes sense why codex hasn't been introduced to Rocktropia yet, right?
Yeah, I think he doesn't need codex. I don't. I
Yeah,
don't think he needs codex. I mean, if he has a choice not to have a codex, but still actively develop it, I think that would be an option too.
yeah. By the way, Kitty said that she could get Never Die on the stream for a Q&A. So if you both are sitting there saying that you know him, hook a brother up, right? So I'm sure
Um,
everyone in here would love to hear from
try.
Never Die.
We
So,
can try, but the thing, yeah, well, obviously, everyone's gonna be asking like, when are you coming back? What's next for
well,
Electropia?
yeah, I
But
mean, I would have to like caveat it with like I'm only gonna ask you some like approved questions, but I would love to chat with the guy. You know, like that would be
yeah,
insane.
that would be awesome. I would definitely listen to that. He's something else.
Yeah,
He's an awesome guy in many ways. But by no means think that he's my idol or anything like that. There's
right.
a lot of things that he's done that I don't really agree with
No,
in
I
the
and
game.
I have to second that. You know, but I would
But
still love to
look
hear
at
from
it.
him.
Look at what he did do. When everyone was calling him crazy, and I don't know how um, experienced the audience is today, but for those that don't know, um, he took a massive gamble by buying CND, which is Club Never Die, which is now Forma Fortuna. He took a massive, massive gamble with that, and no, everyone was saying that he's crazy, but he did it, and he created a place where someone like Kitty would just go on a weekend and dance her ass off on a dance floor in Club Never Die, and just not even spend any money in a game, just listen to live music, listen to him DJing and things like that.
Yeah,
You know, that's awesome. I mean, sure, it's in a real cash economy, like he should be looking at those people to spend the money on his investment, right? So he can recoup it.
yeah,
But it wasn't about that. It was more about the party, like, have some drinks on a Friday night. People at home, let's go up to C&D, let's dance on the dance floor, maybe go mine a little bit, afterwards or before that. Heck yeah. I mean, that's awesome. And then obviously, but at the same time, he's a businessman, right? So he needed to recoup that investment, and he did. And he built the first planet other than Calypso.
yeah.
So I mean, superb, awesome, awesome, awesome deal that he did. Um, but at the same time, he's also, like, I want to say even visionary in many ways. That with his MMOWC, for
Yeah.
example,
I know a lot of
and
people have been asking for that to come back. You know, and
it was awesome. It
everyone
was
loved
great.
it.
It was
Yeah,
good.
yeah,
Live streamed and everything, and he was working with whatever he got. It wasn't easy for him, like he had to count the globals. He had a guy in the background doing that for him or himself and whatever. It wasn't easy. It was a dedication.
yeah.
So
It was
it's good.
passion.
Absolutely, passion, absolutely. So I hope he comes back after we get the new engine, and I hope there's some good development. I hope he keeps it different than any other planet, because there are many people that love on Rockdropia. Dude, right before this stream, I actually did the escape from the prison.
Really nice.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
congratulations.
I finished.
That's
I'm
massive.
now like swimming out of the prison.
That is massive, man. Congratulations on that.
Yeah. Not
Um,
quite there yet, but I need to kill a stupid amount of sharks that there is no spawn for, so it
yeah.
sucks. But yeah, I'm swimming out of it. So
That's awesome, man. Congratulations on that.
yeah,
That's
thanks.
huge. That's huge.
Not that there's point for it anymore, but whatever. It's still something to do.
Well, isn't the No Way Out prison a like preliminary thing to achieve before you get into the pardon me. Sorry, I had to kill somebody. Isn't that like a preliminary thing that you have to complete before you can unlock another chain to get into the Dampfire pet mission chain?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
that is part of it. It's either that or some parts of hell are close to you if you don't have it, and yeah, that is part of it.
Okay.
But
Is that
there's
why
much
you're
more
completing
after
it,
that.
or?
Partly, yes. Do I want to spawn a vampire and tame it? I don't know. It's kind of like that. That's kind of crazy. It's a lot of kills. It's a lot of nonsense. um, but it's just maybe if he comes back, it's gonna be we will be able to do something more with it. If Hell gets developed, because Hell obviously is the big cash grab for him due to purely due to um, being highly taxed. So maybe I know. I mean, you're better off doing it. Also, there's a lot of stuff that is really hard to find on Rocktropia, like figure things out, because there's some people that know it, and some people that know it but have forgotten it, and then there's people that actually don't know anything about Rocktropia, even so they lived there for their whole life, right? But
Right.
there's a lot of things. There's a lot of little tiny missions that it's hard to get to, and they're not open to you until you complete like kind of a preliminary mission, or something else, and it's a little bit of a navigation to do, and this just shows how crazy is how crazy is the thought behind Never Die, like what he's actually thinking and how he's going about the things, because it's a clusterfuck. The
It
whole
really
planet
is.
clusterfuck.
Yeah. So, are your planet and carried inventories sorted?
Yes, dude. I don't think I have any sorts of ADHD or anything like that. But man, if it's not sorted, holy crap! And I actually have it open. I have,
Yeah, I would have to agree with someone in chat. You hesitated on that. So, are you
yeah,
sure? Are you sure?
I have 5,094 items in my inventory.
Okay, alright.
Yeah, it's absolutely sorted. Trust me.
Alright. Well, that answers that, So,
Yeah, I mean, you gotta find things sometimes, Even so, I probably have upwards of 20 pit bulls. It's
wow.
yeah,
Is that
it's
because of
crazy.
like starter packs that you purchased, or is that just item?
No.
Okay, all right. Because I know there are some people who purchase like 700 platinum packs.
Right. I
So
do. I have purchased probably 4 or 5 of them. The
okay,
platinum pack. Yeah,
all right.
absolutely. Because it's a great way of.
Skill pills, right? So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Absolutely.
yeah,
But other than that, no. I mean, there are players I know that have a crap ton of skill pills. Especially the 10%ers. I can tell you right now, I have 85 of them, and that's just because I think on Easter I put in a few $100s. So that's the only reason why I have so many. I had 0 skill pills for probably a full year before that. So I'm one of those that actually doesn't run a skill pill like the whole time.
So why
I
don't
kind
you
of
run a
save
skill
them.
pill?
I don't have them. Like I have 85 of them right now, but that's all I have.
So you have to pick and choose when you run them.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Some people
Interesting.
don't have that issue.
Yeah.
But I mean, some others probably have that same thing, But you can imagine, like when you're in a larger society, or Uber society, let's say, kind of you expect that everyone has these skill pills lying everywhere, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Well, I
yeah,
mean, a lot of people will take the pet out of the game and withdraw it, and then put it
yeah.
back in through boxes, right, to get
Hmm.
the pills and stuff. But that also really depends on where you are geographically, because if you're based in Sweden, you can't do that, right? You can't depot through boxes.
Right.
So, like, how do you come up with skill pills then? Like, is it daily tokens? Is it mayhem tokens? So
Platinum packs.
platinum packs, baby, platinum
Yep.
packs. So, and it's funny that we mentioned that. There's actually a guy that I know. I won't say his name, but he's purchased so many that he actually purchased an estate in the game. And I'm not talking like an apartment. I'm talking like a house. This guy has a house. And on the ground is just, Harrier sets because he has nowhere else for them, and he bought it for the item,
Oh
like
wow.
size. Yeah, it was crazy to
Hey
see.
man, take yourself to Rocktropia with all your Harrier sets. Go to the thing and dump them there.
Yeah, yeah.
And forget
Arcadia
about
Underground, ancient Greece,
Yeah.
or maybe not ancient Greece, because
Hell.
but yeah, there's so many different
Um,
storages. But I mean, that's his prerogative. He does him. So yeah, and maybe it was just like an excuse to buy a house. Who knows, right? So. But cool. So I gotta ask, if you could have any item in the game that you currently don't possess, that is not an official item, what would it be and why?
oh man.
You can only
Not an
choose one.
official item. And only can choose one. Hmm. There are a few items that I hold quite dear to me, and I've tried to acquire them. And these are not Uber items, but they're just cool items. Any item in a game. There are some items that are lost. There are no one has them. But fuck, man, that's a good one. You
We
got
can come
me
back to
good
it. We can
there.
come back to it. You
No,
don't
I
have
can.
to stress
We
it.
can. All right, we can talk about a couple, but this is not one item that I'm gonna definitely take if
Well,
I
I mean,
if I
like, I'm
if I can.
look, I'm not
But
gonna
there are
put
a
words.
few items.
I'm not gonna put words in your mouth, man. But if you answer the question, you've answered the question. Just
Oh,
saying.
okay, fair
Okay.
enough.
All right.
All
All
right,
right.
we'll get back to it.
We'll get back to it. Think about it. Ponder on it.
Okay.
I got to give you a compliment, though. You've got to be one of the most down-to-earth people that I've ever talked to. And I mean, like, so often you see narcissism in the game, and I don't want to, make this about anybody else but you. But I genuinely appreciate how candid and down-to-earth you are as a person, and I mean that as a genuine compliment to you, man.
Thank you, sir. I
It's
appreciate it.
been a pleasure talking to you so far. Just sorry to break the fourth wall or anything, but it's seriously nice to have you here.
Yeah. No, it's. I mean, I feel like I've been in the game for so long that it's a part of me, and it's a part of my life. Honestly, I married
Yeah.
a woman that I met through the game, so it definitely is a part of me. So it's not going anywhere.
Right.
Have I thought about quitting it altogether? Sure, who hasn't? Especially someone who's been here for a little while. It's something else. But I've done so many things in the game, and I'm still not even, like we can talk about the Ubers and everything. I'm not even close to some of the guys that are, running the show in the game, so to say. But it definitely because it is a part of me. I kind of feel like I owe to be the best self I can be in the game. Kind of.
Yeah.
That said, sometimes do I call someone out for, you know, doing something? Sure. Do I get angry with someone? I do, but at the same time, whatever. It's just a game.
Yeah. Definitely. So what's been one of your biggest I guess challenges in the game when it comes to I don't know, overcoming adversity or anything when you've mentioned it before tonight when maybe some shit got stirred up about you that wasn't necessarily true or something, but like what's one of the more I guess pertinent issues that you've had to address in your time here?
Here's my thing that I hate about the game. And it's not about the game; it's about the community.
Sure.
And I hate when people take it to the forums and they drag your name into the shit that is not even your freaking issue.
It's not your problem. Yeah.
Yeah, it's nothing that you did, but they think that you did it and it's your whatever. But they twist it.
Yeah.
And they go in with a malicious idea of ruining your name or saying some shit that is, about you that is not true. And they do it on purpose, and that's something I absolutely hate.
I definitely agree. I definitely agree. Yeah.
and that
So
happened to me once.
the agenda,
Luckily,
the
yeah,
agenda, right?
yeah, and for no good reason, man. Like I've been, I don't know, you know, if someone here doesn't know, then I've been crafting enhancers for a long time, and that was something that I picked up after I sold out and kind of got away from the hunting a little bit, because it's funny how it started. It was never like a business idea for myself, right? But I did over my years of playing. I had accumulated um, blueprints that were, you know, somewhat decent, and I was crafting some enhancers for myself. And a good friend of mine who was a massive grinder at the time, he was like, "Hey, I just saw you globally on some enhancers. Can you make me some?" I'm like, "Sure, whatever. I'll make some." He's like, "Can you beat this price?" I'm like, "I don't know if I can beat it, but I can match it. You know, if you take it from me." And he's a good friend, so he's like, "Sure, well, that's fine with me. Just craft them for me."
Yeah.
And that's how it started. That's how the whole enhancers thing started. But then, like, when I buy mats for enhancers, and people know this, all the miners that I've been buying it from, and you can they can attest to it. If I buy from them, I'm as fair as I can be with the price. You know, sometimes we
Right.
may not agree with the price, but that's unfortunate. You know, but I can't buy something that I know I'm gonna lose on. You know, so and they're at the point where they can't sell cheaper because they're gonna lose. So I kind of understand that. But here's the thing, you know, I always would say it comes out to I buy pyrite from them, and it comes out to 5,994 ped, right? I'll just give them 6,000 ped. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
that's more than I never eh, I never do the peg thing. I never do the cents. I just do the ped. I always up it one ped up or whatever. I just make it even. I never do the peg, and I am always as fair as I can be. And there are some guys that, you know, they rather sell to me even if what I offered is lower, and that's just because of that. And
Yeah.
not like they're gonna sell to me like, let's say someone someone offered them 151. I only offered 150. They're gonna sell it to me because they know you know, I'm gonna make it up at some point, you know.
Yeah.
And that's how it is. I don't know, but what I really hate is when people.
Twist it.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, all right. So here's what happened. For those who don't know, um, someone I'm not gonna name them.
You can if
Um,
you want to. I'm not. I hate to be the
no,
devil on the other shoulder, but you know.
it's fine. This. I, here's the thing. Like this person didn't play the game for a long time, but he's an old timer, and he came back, and I actually invited him into the society. Back then, it was the Why So Serious. I invited them, and they didn't even want to come. And I was like, "Hey, it's fun. Come on over. You know, like you're a skilled player. You're an old school player. I know you from way back when, and all this." And then he kind of backstabbed me with creating a forum post about Enhancer Mafia that we are price gauging.
Enhancer
And
Mafia.
yeah, there
That's a
was a
new one.
big deal. Yeah, so apparently me and MC Hammer and who was the third? I can't remember at the time. We were the biggest enhancer crafters at that moment, and I was the biggest according to the globals, at least um, per enhancer. And he accused us that we are price gauging and price gouging,
Hmm.
and
Market manipulation. Yeah.
market manipulation and all that. And I'm like, dude, he's seriously trying to either, you know, ruin my name or get me banned for whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting here and I know MC Hammer. I know MC Hammer is fucking um he's super fair. He's a super cool dude.
Yeah. I deal with them all
And
the time.
yeah, and I deal with him all the time, you know. And they're very like at the same time, you know, we are friends, but if let's say he messed up and he
You would
um
still call them out for it, right?
yeah,
The same with
he
sock mates or whatever. Yeah.
yeah, but he let's say he would put the put the prices too small, or too low, right? He would put the prices too low in the shop. I would go to his shop to check what his prices are, and I see they're too low. I would buy them out, and I've done that many times over, and he's done the same thing to me, and it's
Yeah.
fair,
Yeah.
you know.
Open market,
And
right?
exactly, and the same time. So now this person saw that we bought, me or him or both of us, I don't know, we bought some stuff from the auction enhancers for us to resell them in our store, right? So here's the bad word that everyone hates. It's resell, right?
Oh my god.
So yeah. So what we did,
The only
or
thing
I
worse than a
did, or
pirate
Tim did,
or a PKer is a reseller.
yeah,
Oh man.
yeah. And so let's say enhancers right now go for about 330%, right? I don't even know what they are like
Yeah, we'll just
today.
say that. That's fine.
Yeah, 330. And someone lists a considerable amount of enhancers for 315 on the auction. Me in my store, I'm selling them for 330, right? And I know that for me to craft them, it costs 320, 325, something there, whatever. But the market is about that 330, and he's selling for 315. What do? You buy them out. You buy them and relist them, or sell them, or like put them in your store. And it's not just because you're kind of like protecting your investment in some ways or another.
Yeah.
I don't feel like that is a market manipulation, because it's not like I'm buying it out and just now relisting higher just because. I know the price to craft it.
Yeah.
I know what it cost to craft, and I know he listed it under the price, under the cost. Maybe he got lucky and he actually made head on that run. That's
Right.
fine with me. But I know in the long term I couldn't make that price possible. So it makes sense, especially. But I only did this if I knew, like, it's really hard for me to get something. Like, I have a high demand, but I have very low amount of items, pyrite or outputs or whatever. So, I would look into the auction and see, okay, actually, this is really cheap. Like, if I buy this, I will at least be able to fill in some of the guys that are asking me for it from here.
Awesome. Well, I mean, you can go ahead with that question you had for me if you're ready.
Right. What do you think is the biggest issue for the future of Entropia?
It's a great question. I actually had a similar question for you as well, so I'll follow it up with that one later.
Yeah, I want to discuss that. I mean,
yeah.
if you don't mind.
Because I mean, like, a question that I had noted down was like, what is a prediction that you can make for Entropia's future? So I think this is kind of similar, but I'll take your question first. So I think the biggest problem for me has to be the way that they're approaching the game, and that's MindArc's approach to the game. So in regards to what they're allowing to take place in the game, right? Either by action or not taking action, right? So whether that be botting or AFK macroing or just macroing in general, I think that can really impact the expectation that players have towards the game. Like, oh, I should just be able to automate my gameplay or semi-automate my gameplay. I mean, of course, you're not supposed to completely do that, but I mean, let's be realistic here. We're dealing with some smart people that play this game that are software engineers. I'm sure there is some software going around that completely automates the gameplay, and they never have to be at their PCs at all. We also have advanced macros, so I think that the biggest thing that's holding MindArc back is their lack of involvement when it comes to repercussion and action taken against players for maybe blurring those lines or manipulating those lines or even breaking those lines in instances like that. MindArc literally is their biggest enemy. And in my opinion, there's no clean-cut answer to that, I guess, question or issue. You can't just do away with something that you've provided players the ability to do, right? That's I mean, we just saw the couple days of the the Swine Twin being released, and the backlash that the players have been like, oh my god, I can't believe it. Oh, how dare you. Let alone, we've been pretty much clear over a year with people being able to macro in the game, And you have players taking it into their own hands, where they're like, we're tired of this AFK macro bullshit. We're gonna catch you lacking and take you into space, and
Right.
the whole self-policing side of things. But again, that only fits a certain agenda. So I'm not for the whole self-policing vigilante thing, I don't know if there's even a good way for them to come out of this other than setting it all afresh, having a good core foundational reconstruction of their bylaws, as it were. Let's rewrite the EULA. Let's do a clean release. Let's do Unreal Engine. Build it all up from the ground up. It's all code that we know. It's all new rules that everyone can agree upon. A new EULA, a new TOU, It's great.
Mhm.
Let's go from there. But the current system that we have right now, it's fucked. Like,
Yeah,
on so many levels.
I agree with you on that. There's a lot of things that like people have taken to matters into their own hands and stuff like that. I'm not entirely against people using macro. I think, like, dude, I started the game when the clickers were a thing,
Yeah.
and clickers, it's just a repeating one keystroke, right? So it's basically a macro, like it is right now. But it was bannable, and Minarch made it clear that if you get caught doing it, you will, get banned for that.
Can
But
I?
here's
Sorry.
Yeah, go on.
So can I just interject there? So I think that Mindarch has skewed the lines when it comes to this because of greed. And I mean, I
Hmm.
say that in the nicest way possible. But if you think about how Loot 2.0 works as opposed to 1.0, if you cycle more, Mindarch makes more. If you are grinding and you're cycling and you're decaying, Mindarch's making money off of you now in
Hmm.
1.0. Whereas before, you could potentially be pure profit. The more that you grinded, the more money you could make, right? So as we see this shift happen, Mindarch's greed and everything else is kind of caught up. And I don't want to be putting words in their mouth at all, but I think honestly, if we cut it down to what it is Mindarch is looking at this game as a business and not a game.
Yeah, absolutely. I will add to that. So, way back then, like they were all completely against it, but they were not maybe thinking of like how that is impacting them financially. But at the same time, imagine, like we were talking about the massive amount of clicks of enhancers. Imagine I had to click them by myself every single click, which was the case back in the day with crafting. Like if you were crafting 10,000 clicks, that meant you clicked that button craft 10,000 times. So they made it automated, which was their first step, which is like call it greed or call it something that players wanted, whichever way, it doesn't matter. Um, but it's better. I mean, if Minarch would say, okay, we're going back to the old days and now you're gonna have to click by yourself. Imagine the outwash that players would say. That's ridiculous, Like,
Yeah.
I mean, we grow, we learn, and they do the version update just for that reason.
Yeah, I mean,
Purple
like,
Sun, yeah.
to that point though, I think I've made like a meme or two about it, on the side where I was like, AFK crafting, that's okay, AFK repairing on a mothership, that's okay, AFK sweating, sure, whatever. AFK hunting, that's weird or bad for some reason, like, where does the line get drawn, and
Exactly.
it's strange to see it and how the player base kind of evolves with their mindset, but also how Mindarch evolves with their adaptations of what can be acceptable for their TOU, right?
I think, and I've heard that some people got like temporarily banned, like not like entirely, but like their they were restricted to access the game for a month or so, because they were, AFK hunting in openly, and they were, some people reported them for doing so. And their reasoning behind it is that you're affecting someone else's gameplay. And that's, I think, the big key of it. If you're affecting someone else's gameplay with your
Yeah.
whatever you do in a game, then you get, your wrist gets swapped.
That's the biggest piece that I think that gets missed, is like people who macro their gameplay now. I'll be honest, I have a macro, right? I hardware macro all the time. But I'm here, I'm at my computer. I work right here
Exactly.
to the side, I'm always at my computer. I never miss a PM if I get a congrats. If I am locking onto a mob, I never don't know what mob I'm targeting, right? So seeing some of the players that do what they do in the game, I'm sure you've seen it before as well, but the biggest piece that gets missed, I think, is that you're supposed to be monitoring your gameplay,
Yeah.
I think a lot of people miss that piece, and to your point, the number one rule in the game is to not impede someone else's ability to enjoy or play Entropia,
Exactly.
and that goes hand in hand, right? If we're being fair here.
Yeah, absolutely. And I like right now I'm not using any macros or anything like that. But if I am, for example, I'm a full-time student, so if I'm studying on one screen, I can't be hitting F all the freaking time, right?
Yeah.
So I'm there, I'm watching it, and I can pay my attention to it, and I see what's going on, whatever. That's fine. I think that's absolutely fine. Like, um, otherwise, all you do is just you go through keyboards, you go through your mouses, and
Your
create
hands, your
yourself
wrist, yeah.
carpal tunnels and all that crap.
Yeah.
So I don't see that as a big issue. Yeah, completely AFKing, yeah, that's and if you are, like doing like, let's say you are in some kind of spawn for any kind of mob, and there's someone else trying to hunt, and now you're kill stealing his mobs, or he sees that you're AFK, he starts actually abusing you. So that should not be happening. I don't think that should be happening. That's a little bit too far. But if you're there monitoring it, like, you're just not doing the keystrokes yourself, and I think that is okay. But
Yeah.
to each its own, and I'm not gonna say
Yeah.
that like this is the only way. If you think differently, up to you. That's fine. I don't care at this point. But if I'm gonna be trying to hunt, like right now, I'm hunting snakes on next island. So if someone else comes in here, like with a rocket blasting away at all my snakes, and I can't hunt what I want to hunt, then it kind of sucks. I know I probably would just move on, go somewhere else. I don't, whatever. But at the same time, this is what I wanted to do for the next couple hours. So whatever.
Right. Right.
But I don't think that's the biggest issue. I think the biggest issue with I'm not exactly sure how that's going to play out. But look at the skill gap that we have right now in the game. Like, for example, yourself.
I don't agree with that, actually.
I think that's the biggest issue in a game. Like right now, if a new player comes in a game, starts at 0,
To me, though, to play devil's advocate here, it has never been easier to go from a 0 to Uber in all of Entropia's history.
Yep.
And I think that I would hate to call it this, but that paywall exists for a reason, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're not supposed to just be able to walk into a game, and that's why a lot of PvPers or even Uber players that are planet side players have such a problem with space PvP combat and space piracy, is because, let's say for example that you decide tomorrow you're gonna go depot like $20 and make like a brand new account. You are now on par with someone who's like a veteran who has deposited like 60k, 100,000 US dollars, spent 7 to 12 years skilling in fair hand-to-hand combat in space, right? Like, that's the whole reason why there's a sense of balance, right? It's like, if you come in, put in the time, put in the work, put in the money, you should reap the benefits of that. And if I'm able to kill a uber level player with a level 85 weapon and they're level like 200, 300 plus, that's a problem from a balancing perspective. I should not be able to go toe to toe with someone in fair hand to hand combat and win because I am just gifted, you know. It should be balance in the game as well as IRL, right? So there's a fine line that we're seeing here, but ultimately, if you go too far in one direction, you'll piss off a lot of people. And I think that if you want balance to truly exist, you need to make it to where people who are coming in can achieve those higher levels easier, right? But it's never been easier than now.
Yeah.
So
Skill wise, yeah, you can close the gap somewhat a little bit, like zero to hero. You know, you can get as much faster than you used to be able to. Like we have some people that have proven that, and they've gone to the crazy amounts of skill in very very short period of time. But even myself, I chipped out once completely. You know, like that one time that I got that cool dash splitter ESI and uh, and uh, and that tower. Um, that was cool, but I still quit a little bit after that. I still quit a few years after that, and I came back with basically no skill. Within a year I got to a level 100. And that was pretty cool. But now it's even easier to do that. Like right now, I think a very dedicated person from 0 to 100 would probably be a 6 month ordeal. You can do that. That's fine, and that's pay to win basically.
yeah,
And it is the balancing factor, what you said. But if I would be coming in a game right now with zero skill, and I would want to be someone that is able to use, let's say what's the highest skill level item in the game? Is that the new swine? Is that what's the highest? 160, I think.
yeah, I would say so. I think
Something
it's
like
like
that.
190 or something actually. But it's
Right.
pretty high up there. I mean, there's a lot of chat in the chat. I don't know if I want to even give it an audience here, but a lot of speculation as to like what the current best item is in the game, and a lot of people who've invested in that being the driving factor for the nerf. But
Mhm.
um, I think that if you look at where people are at now, like if I compare myself against the highest skilled avatars in the game, I'm like, oh yeah, I could do that like in a couple months, if I really put my mind to it and maybe put a little bit of money into the game or pulled money from elsewhere in the game, like gear that I just have laying around. I don't ever see myself as like, oh, that's like an unachievable goal. They're untouchable. That's unachievable. Like I see myself. I mean, and maybe yes, it is because I'm a veteran player and I've been around in the game. But versus before, when there was 1.0 and no codex, and I could never see myself competing with these people. How do I ever achieve that? How do I ever surpass that? You know.
Mhm. I think they yeah, like you say, yeah, they probably did a good job on some of it, but they also, like they gave the opportunity um, for some of these players that are new to the game to reach those levels a little quicker. Because right now, like it was at one point that there was a couple of level 200 players, right? Um, but at that time, we still didn't have the codex, right? So we didn't have that opportunity to use codex to like even reach any of their levels. Plus, a lot of attribute missions have gone away, or like avatars used to start with 9 stamina and then they started at 0 or 1. I don't even know, but they've done something to kind of like help with that. But I still think that there's a big old gap, and it's a skill gap and it's an item gap. um, there are some items, and the craziest time that I went for 500,000 pad. That's $50,000. For $50,000, you can buy. In some countries, that's a price of the house.
Yeah.
In the USA, that's a price of pretty decent car. Like very decent car. And it's crazy that you have something like that in a game, and all these people now seem untouchable. And then we have people who are trading these items back and forth. There's such a massive amount of real money value being moved every day. So how do you create this game attractive to someone who doesn't even want to take, let's say he never wants to put $100,000 into the game just to enjoy the game. Like how does Mindar create this opportunity for WoW level players? I mean, sure, there's like WoW level missions and things like that, but there is no league of their own, so to say. Like there are very very few players that will never want to get anywhere, and they just want to do the little noob stuff that they do. I feel like they also should have that kind of like opportunity to be cool in their own way without investing massive amounts of money into the game. Because I feel when I started, if you put in $500 in your game, it felt like it's a lot of money and it will last a long time, and it did. Now it feels like $500 is nothing. Maybe that's me speaking of my, because I've been playing it for so long and my skill level is
No,
fairly high.
I have to
I
agree.
don't know.
Definitely. I have to agree. And I think that this kind of became apparent the more that I got involved with bringing other people into the conversation for what I deposited into the game. Whether that was my wife or my family, or whoever it was that I was trying to explain it to, right? It was like, if I wanted to make like a considerable contribution or deposit into the game now, I couldn't just put $500 into the game and that'd be enough, right? And that's hard to explain to someone who's completely isolated from the game, or even looking back into who I used to be when I first started, and I was just like a level 16 guy, I did healing and I was like mostly free to play, and putting in $500 to me was like, oh my god, like I couldn't imagine doing that much, so
Yeah. How do you how does the game get to that point where like we uh there is this opportunity of a player for a player to self-sustainably play this game for, say, I don't know, $200 a year. Maybe that's all they can afford, and that's all they want to afford. Not that they can afford it, but whatever.
right.
It's about that. How do you get like that? Everyone rushed and everyone liked Apex Legends, right? I never played it, but I know that
Oh,
lots
I
of people
love
did.
Apex, dude.
Yeah, so how do you get that hype about this game to attract these people? Because they spend a lot, people spend a lot of money on Apex, right? But how do
Sure.
you get them to enjoy this game on the Apex level money? You know,
Yeah.
that I think that part is hard, and I think back in the day it was a little easier. Like I'll mention Kitty again. She she used to just, let's say, go to C&D and dance and buy clothes and just enjoy her time. How do you get to that point? How do you
Yeah.
get to where it's just an enjoyable time without a lot of money, and like just enjoyable kind of break from reality? That's what I think is the biggest problem with the game, because right now everyone's so serious, so important. Now this new event, right? There's very few noob items in the trader. Noob, I mean in a good way. I don't mean in noob a bad way. But there's so very few items in that trader that would be super cool for a lower level player, right? There's nothing that would be pretty cool to have, for a player. Or maybe someone could could make or break it from this event. They might be able to grind it out and buy this cool item and use it for a little bit, sell it or something or another.
Yeah.
And I feel like there's very little of that. I don't know. We kind of geared towards
I mean, I
people
would
with
say
money.
that the one thing that I've identified in my experience in the game that is not dependent on in-game skill, and it's not really dependent on, like, whatever you can make in the game, but it's IRL dependent, where it comes down to your in like personal skill, right? Like, let's say for example that you and I were to sit down together and we have a pen and paper in front of us, like you and me in a room right now, right? And I were to tell you to draw, Darth Vader, one of us would come out ahead, right? With like our in-person skill and ability to draw, right?
hmm
So the closest thing that I've had in that in the in-game reality of Entropia is face mask, and I've been able to make money doing face masks in the game before. That to me has been the only profession that I've ever come across where it's not dependent on like your in-game skills and how much you built those up,
Yeah.
how much money you've cycled or anything. You can literally buy the face paint, the face mask, everything off the auction, and you can customize that face mask and make it a work of art, unique to the person that requested it, and make a killing profit. I'm talking like insane if you really
Yeah.
want to. The game
I
needs
think
more of
that's a
that.
great point.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I think game needs a lot more individuality and like, let's say, an apartment. Who said we couldn't, let's say, buy apartment and paint our own walls or put our own wallpaper on from our
Well,
animal skins or things like that?
there was that one time with that one wallpaper, and
Yeah, how did that
yeah.
go?
So, I mean,
Oh, a good idea, bad execution.
yeah, I wouldn't even say
Yeah.
good idea at that point. It's just
Yeah.
you could have executed it flawlessly, and it was still just a shit idea, So, Kitty likes the wallpaper apparently, though, so she's a fan.
I mean, and it's now it's a part of the game, and
It
and they
is.
haven't removed it, and
They
and
haven't.
I don't know
It's still
if
there.
they
Yeah.
if they can or not or whatever, but it's a cool thing to have, and it's like a part of the history, so to say,
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty cool. People were asking where, and I have yeah. Yeah,
we'll say that for after party. After party only. We're not showing that live on stream,
Yeah.
but I'll go after.
Yeah.
I'll go after.
All right, yeah, you
Yeah.
should show it to
Yeah.
people. It's pretty cool. I mean, there's so many cool things like that people know or don't know. I will say, like, people probably don't know this, but there is a secret cave under Treasure Island, and I'm not gonna say where it is and all that, but
Off
it's
stream. Off stream.
such
Get women off stream.
there's some really cool stuff in the game, some awesome places that are just like, wow, holy cow. And Mindark
Yeah.
needs to do a lot more of those, like instead of some kind of silly decryptive messages for a week on Instagram about a
Some
piss
spinal
poor
workers.
event.
Yeah.
Yeah, they need to do some fun stuff.
You put a
man,
negative
some
filter
real
on
fun
it, boys. They'll never find out. It's.
Yeah. I mean, the first message came out. I honestly, because I'm not English is not my first. I asked people, "Hey, guys, does this sentence makes any sense to you? Does it like? It feels like it's worded out completely incorrectly."
Yeah.
And they're like, "Yeah, it makes no sense." I'm
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. No.
"Yeah, so it's crazy."
Yeah. I don't know, man. I'm hopeful for the Unreal Engine. I'm hopeful based off of the content that I've seen released, so far. I think a lot of people are too. With the spinal workers and the twin rework, it took them long enough. It's only like 3/4 to the year, but they finally got their shit together with this year-long event. But Yeah, no, I really am happy to see the improvements coming, you know, and yeah, it takes time. And I understand, they're a small team, but at the same time, we're dealing with like one of the most lucrative player bases to ever exist, so
Yeah, I mean, how many people do you know outside of this game that I have played a different game for 20 years?
yeah.
And how many of those people you know in this game?
Yeah,
It's insane.
not only that length of time, but also the amount of monetary investment that's been made,
Yeah,
so
yeah, they need to go back to a little bit of their basics, have the fun stuff.
yeah.
Bring back the boredom,
Yeah,
like
the Borum, man. Yes.
yeah, I
Yeah.
mean it was such a cool event. I mean, Halloween was the best event of all of them,
Yeah,
just
just because of
because it
that
was
ribbon.
so
Just because of that
weird,
one
you
ribbon
know.
right there,
Yeah,
Ooh.
yeah, and I mean
I still
it was
dream of it,
constructed. Oh man, I think
The floppy
I don't know
ribbon,
if that's a good or bad idea, bad for you, but hey, whatever. I mean, there is some things that they've
Yeah.
created that are
It's
pretty
indistinguishable.
insane.
It's just
Yeah,
it's there, forever scarred
yeah.
or,
And now these times the events are just pure grind. And I mean, they did it for a reason, and I get that. They wanted to have everyone the same opportunity, sort of, right?
yeah.
But dude, let's have some fun.
Yeah, have some fun with it,
Yeah,
Don't
let's
take
have some
yourself so
fun with it.
seriously, right?
Yeah. So like I don't know. It's just there's so many things and so many crazy stuff.
I mean, you're dealing with 20 years worth of like, content, so just legacy alone, it's been a whirlwind, and I'm excited for the future, but also like I'm also excited because of the rework that they've had internally. They've had a lot of old blood being fleshed out, and they publicize a lot more now. They engage with the community more. I'm excited to see what Mindark has to bring to the table, and I really hope that they can deliver, with these promises that they've been making. But Sokolade, I really appreciate your time tonight. I'm out of questions, so if you have anything else for me,
Oh, you
um,
asked me. You asked me about the item.
oh
So
yes, the one
let me
item
get to that.
that yes, if you've had time to mull it over, go ahead, lay
I'm
it on
trying
me.
to open up the wiki. There's a few, and you said I can only choose one, which is kind of unfair.
Roman
But
Ram
okay.
Purifier is what I'm expecting to come for.
I
So.
mean, that's a cool item.
There's
But
a couple
eh.
of questions coming in from chat as well, so go ahead and collect your thoughts on that, and I'll have a look in chat here and see what kind of juicy questions I can pull up here.
Let's see what chat says about the items. What would they think is the cool item they would want to have?
Yeah, we can go ahead and ask chat that. That's fine. I think someone was asking about your stance on PvP and how you like PvP.
Oh, I can answer that. Yeah. Okay, wiki opened up. 1 second. At some point, I really wanted a mod DAR. I think it was mod DAR 9300 or something like that. I really wanted that weapon, and
Muddar.
yeah, I was back in 1.0 days because I
kind of
hate
basic
the time
nowadays, Oh,
yeah, it is. But
no, JJ died. Oh, I'm sorry.
let me see. There's one other weapon. That you never see on auctions ever, and there used to be quite a few of them.
All right, look, Tina, we made it to where you can't have an official item. That was part of the question. I was like, name an item that you currently don't possess that you could have in the game, right?
But there is the
It's not an
ancient
official
plasma
weapon.
pistol.
Huh?
There is a really cool plasma pistol that was in a game, and it's still some people have it. It wasn't even super expensive. But my Wikipedia is super slow. I wish I could look it up real quick. So it would be between that pistol. It's not the ancient plasma pistol, but there is another pistol. I think it was something like PPPG, some weird name, and it was a cool item. Just a cool item. I mean, it was
Yeah.
also pretty decent stats, but it was just a cool item. But there's one item that I absolutely would love to find, and I would really consider buying it. And if someone has one or can can point me to one, that is a BG. I think it's B or HGH or BGH 2200 without an M at the end. So the
Sorry, what was
BGH
it? The
SGH
I'm
2200.
having a problem coming up with like a description here.
Um,
It could be because of the amount of drinks that I've had, but I mean, also like I'm not sure the weapon.
it is BGH or SGH 2200
We got
without.
a couple of guys in here in chat that are familiar with the wiki. I mean, like
Yeah,
I'll put a
fire.
bounty. I'll put a 50 ped bounty on it. You know, whoever can come up with the whatever the hell Sokolade's describing right now. Well,
Tina actually sent me a message. He said the plasma pistol that I mentioned is APPG1. APPG
there's an
1.
HGA edition as well, apparently as well.
Oh, is there?
You just
Did
sent
not
it in
know.
chat here in the Twitch channel as well.
Yeah, that I would like to own that item for sure. And the other one that I'd really like to would be Fireforge. It would be, I think it's a rifle. What is a rifle?
So basic. I'm sorry. I'm really not trying to judge, but I am. I really am.
I mean, everything else. I mean, as long as you have money, you can buy.
Well,
These items.
except for
JJ put it in 2200M,
yeah.
but without the M. So Fireforge SGH 2200, just 2200.
That's the weapon.
That's the one. If I could have one, I would love to have one. I have the Fireforge SGH 2200M. I actually
But
own one.
even still, you would like to have it.
Yeah, I would love to have it. I think that's the best dagger in the game.
All right.
I think. Yeah. There's a few really cool items. Tina actually owns one of the really cool items in the game, which is the ML PGH or whatever it was, the sniper, PSG sniper. I mean, that's such a cool item. None of its capabilities, just because it's a really cool item. That's all.
Yeah, no, for sure.
There's a few items that I really like and I would like to have. Like someone mentioned battle axe.
Yeah.
I own a couple of battle axes 2.0s or 2x0s or whatever they were.
Did you ever see those limited prototype rocket launchers come out? Triple X series, I think it was. Prototype
Oh,
XXX or whatever.
Yeah,
I mean, even if I had a limited one, but I would love an unlimited variant of that where you just shit out explosives, you know?
Yeah.
It's
And
such a fast
the thing.
attack rate, you know?
This is what I was talking about, was have some fun. You know,
Yeah.
remember the days when Mindark actually took, created these avatars, and they would run around and ask the players
RX units, right?
RX
That were actually
units, yeah.
player controlled, or not player
Exactly.
controlled, but mind art controlled.
Yep.
Yeah.
So they were having fun. We were having a shit all the ton. A shit all the fun.
Yeah.
You know. And we also got something really cool out of it. You know, that was worth it. That was amazing. Everyone had the chance. All you needed to do is get a kill shot. You know, it doesn't matter how many pre-damaged them. It just needed to get the kill shot. So,
Are you being messaged on the side, by the way?
I am.
Okay. This whole
all
time,
good.
I've just been curious if, like, you know, you got Microsoft Teams open over there or something. So.
No, I have, in-game chat.
That's a different sound that I'm used to though. Like, have you customized the sound
For what?
for the
For the
in-game
game?
PM? Yeah.
No. Same
Oh,
sound.
maybe it's something else that I'm hearing. I'm maybe hallucinating, but
Clicking, because I'm not using any macro, I'm just mashing my keyboard. Maybe that's what it is.
no, it's like an actual
Have
like
brown
alert
switches.
sound. I don't know. It's
Hmm.
okay. We'll move.
Could
We'll
be
move
my work
past it.
phone.
Could be. Could be.
Yeah, and that goes back to the PvP. Someone asked about what do you think about the PvP. I love PvP. I've always been in PvP. I got away from PvP and actually sold all my cool stuff that I had accumulated. Not the very cool stuff, but I still sold. I sold my boa. I had like 2 or 3 boas.
I have
I
a
mean,
boa. You want it?
would love to have one, but I'm close to exterminator, so it's kind of like maybe
Yeah.
not really me anymore. So either way, even that, I mean, come on, guys, keep dropping the exterminator limiteds. That would be pretty cool. They know we use them. They know people use them in land grabs. Things like that. Nothing about PvP. And here's one thing I want to say. And I know I see that you have 39 people watching now. Guys that do PvP, don't take PvP as and this is just my opinion. But if you take any advice from me, then don't take PvP as oh, this guy is an asshole, he killed me, or oh, this guy doesn't like me, or oh, this guy, I need to kill him because he's in that society, or because he did outbid me on a auction for some item or another, or didn't want to sell me something or whatever. PvP is PvP. You do whatever you want in PvP. If you want to kill another green dot, you kill another green dot. You either go for a green dot or you run from a green dot. That's the two things in PvP that you can do. If you decide not to kill someone because he's your friend, that's absolutely fine. But don't start drama. There's absolutely zero need for it. Absolutely zero need for it. And that's one of the reasons why I got away from PvP a little bit, because it's a little bit too much drama, and there's no reason for it. Like we all go in the PvP to be able to loot someone, or just to, like, I see that Mando is right now collecting oil, killing some guys that he wants to kill and some guys that he doesn't kill, and that's fine. Don't go in the chats. Oh, you ask, oh, why are you keep on killing me? Let me pick up some oil. No, grow up. Come and try to get that oil some other way, or even if you're in a land grab, at the end of like the way I used to play the games, which I before Entropia or during Entropia, the games that I played was VCOD and COD 2, Call of Duty 2, and the VCOD is the first one, first Call of Duty, or Wolfenstein, or other games, which was pretty cool. Online games, and you shoot other people, you go like team against team or whatever, even World of Tanks. But at the end of every game, at the end of every match, people are GG, good game.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
There's no drama. Why do we need drama here about no good reason?
Yeah.
So if someone kills you in PvP, it's not personal. So any of you 43 people watching or whatever, if I kill you in a PvP, that's no drama. There's nothing against you. You kill me, I'm never gonna PM you and say that, hey, what the hell? Never. You're never gonna see that from me.
Yeah.
This is actually how I made a friend that I never thought I'm gonna make a friend with. He killed me in PvP in a lootable with quite a bit of loot on me, but I was just, I was relaxed and probably had a drink or two, and didn't see him coming. But exactly after that, I PM'd him, dude. You got me good because I never saw you even coming. And
Yeah.
from that on, we chatted and we became friends.
Actually, it's a very funny thing that you say that. There was a guy recently that I came across in Arcadia PvP, and he had a similar approach to you, where he just was like, oh, hey, GG's, like really good shit, I would, I would come out there and like, check the zone or whatever, and I saw him and I killed him a couple times or whatever, and he engaged with me like in a PM or whatever, and he was like, can you show me anything or whatever, because I'm trying to PvP as well. I saw he was wearing like limited, Perseus or whatever, or Pegasus, sorry, the white, Arcadia armor. And just, it was like the way that he approached me was like very logical, like he appreciated, the engagement. He didn't like try to start anything. There was no drama. There was just like, GG, and how do you do what you do kind of thing. Can you give me any advice or whatever? So I took a screenshot of my camera settings and sent it to him, and ever since then he's been doing a lot better, and we're actually friends, and I won't shoot him if I see him in the zone, just because of how we've been talking, recently. So there's a lot of friends you can make, and it's surprising the amount of like leaves that you can turn over, and everyone says turn over a new leaf, or whatever, but it's surprising the connections that you can make in the game when it comes to like your approach to just how you engage other people and talk with people in the game.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. And that's the thing. Be respectful. There's another brother behind that screen, another mother, another sister, and another father. So just it like, would you treat your family, disrespectfully? If you were playing the game and you would run into him, like sometimes I feel like PvP should be no names.
Yeah.
Like if you go in a PvP, your name is scrubbed.
Yeah.
It just that kind of deal. So there's no like weird shit going on, but just respect, guys. Like
Yeah.
PvP is fun. PvP should be fun, and if the PvP, I personally really want the PvP to involve in this game, because it's been a very, very important part of how I grew up with the game, because I did a lot of PvP. But the drama part kind of drew me away from it.
Yeah.
So
Same.
I really want it to be cool and fun experience, and cheap experience, because PvP is expensive, man, real expensive. Shouldn't be that expensive. And if it would be cheaper, maybe more people would do it, which would be also cool. But yeah, other than that, yeah, you got my 2 items, you got all that. I mean, I can chat about everything, but I mean, sounds like we got it so far. I'm reading the chat. I'm reading your chat now.
Yeah, no, I think we're good.
PvP is a lot cheaper these days. But is it though?
Well, I will say to that point, PvP is a lot cheaper when it comes to the missed shots counting against you. That's been a good improvement.
That's massive.
Yeah, that's big. And I would say up until the recent nanocube change, that's been my favorite improvement so far. The missed shots kind of thing was the best improvement up until the nanocube, and I've liked the nanocube a little bit more. Change, when it comes to the game, but yeah, for sure.
Why do you like nanocube change?
It stimulates the economy. It holds you to a certain standard. If you think about like certain materials and stuff that you could have like easily TT'd or something, it's no longer just TT food. You can reap a little bit more markup. You can also consolidate a bunch of TTable items into something that you can sell for markup. So like if you had like a bunch of like random shit where it was just kind of strong about your inventory, you can now consolidate that. That in and alone of itself is huge, right? Mm-hmm. I can take like, 30 ped here, 60 ped there, 100 ped there, 200 ped there. I'll put it into the same bundle on the auction, get 101% or whatever. That's huge. It's massive.
Yeah, it is, but what I think that auction is still flawed. Then in auction needs to be rewarded tremendously, because you get 7 days to sell an item, and then sniping is a real thing. Like if you want to list something with no start bid, you very much risk it to go for that. I mean, sure, you kind of accepted it when you took it, but Like even eBay doesn't do that, you know. So
Yeah.
it's kind of like, yeah, there's a lot of things that need to be rewarded. It's really expensive to list some items. That 50 peg charge for item is just silly in my opinion, because not maybe for the big guys. Like I personally wouldn't maybe really care about that all that much, but look for the newer players if they want to buy, or if they want to buy, I don't know, like corrosive attack nano chip 2 or 1, whatever, super low TT, right? But you have to pay. Oh no, I think the TT, if I remember correctly, is maybe 7 ped, but you can only sell for 8 ped, and then the seller gets 50 peg um, profit. Auction gets 50 peg profit, and a player just paid 130%.
Hmm.
You know, I think that's flawed. I don't think that should be like that. I think that player should be able to buy that item for, 105% or 110%. 110 would be 7 ped and 70 peg, but you cannot sell it for that. You have to sell it for 8 ped, which is kind of, and you don't even get all that markup anyway. So I think auction and society terminals are the ones that really need to be rewarded.
Yeah. No, I definitely have to agree with that. Um,
And hopefully they will be.
yeah. Well, cool. All right. If that's all that you have, I'm not gonna keep you any longer. I know we're approaching the 3-hour mark rapidly, if not already past that mark. But I want to thank you for your time tonight, Soko. It's been a pleasure chatting with you. Very eye-opening as well, and also humbling to know that someone of your stature is able to sit here and have a conversation with like someone like me. So again, it's been a really privilege for me to sit here and have you tonight. And I have to thank Kitty as well for sparing your time with me this afternoon. I know she's probably um, wanting some attention as well. So I'll have to give you back to her here shortly. But thank you, Soko. It's been a pleasure, man. And anything else that you want to close out here with that wasn't covered so far?
Um, I am very approachable and all that, but if someone ever PMs me, and I just want to make clear this for some people that may think that I'd never answer or whatever, I'm not a very social person, and I'm just introvert, so I don't go around and talk too much with people or whatever, but um, I am approachable and I will help you if I can. But at the same time, I'm doing my own thing and I like to be respectful for that. That's all.
Great. Well, sorry. Well, what a voice crack. Please edit that out. Thank you. So thank you, Sokolade. And again, approach at your own risk. You've heard it here first, folks. But again, thank you, Sokolade. It's been an honor and a pleasure to speak with you tonight. I wish you well in your journey on Entropia, and hope that we can remain friends past this engagement. I will ask you a question. This was actually brought up by somebody else. If you could ask a question to the next person on my stream in the next live Q&A, I ask that you ask it now or maybe DM it to me later. But I would like to keep that kind of rolling forward, moving from here. So whatever you have, if you have it in your head now, that's fine. But if not, then get it to me on the side.
I will probably email it to you or DM it to you.
Sure. That's fine.
Right now I don't have anything up because the one question I would ask, but you don't want to name too many names in the game, whatever, in your stream. But I would probably ask, who are the people that influenced you most, and especially like especially if you like, I would love to see the next person if who do you interview, like someone of the older ranks, someone that I may know, that would be kind of cool. Then I can relate. Maybe not someone from my friend circle, but someone that I know of who's been around forever, and that would be really cool to know who has influenced their gameplay, who has influenced how they deal with things in a game and people in the game, and who, because there's always someone behind you or next to you who kind of helps you push to the next level, that kind of deal.
Right. No, definitely. I really resonate with that as well. You know, there's been a few names that have, you know, inspired me or pushed me to become better entropian, right? So, definitely, I think that's something I can take with me. So, thank you again, Sokolade. Thanks everyone here for being here for the chat. So, it's been a really good pleasure. So, if that's okay with you, I'll end it here. But thank you, Sokolade.
Thank you guys, and thank you, Vandal.